What is up, it is Jimmy. Today I have a new gun for guys, and this is the Lego Blowback Glock 19. So, I've been requested to make a blowback gun for a really long time, and I just now decided to try it out. I made a design in LTD, made it in real life, and just made a few iterations until it actually turned out working really well. So, I have not really used any inspiration for the mechanism. But it might just be similar to someone else's, I don't know. I haven't really checked any of those designs out, just as a disclaimer. So yeah, we'll just start with going over the grip. It's just a standard built grip because it's the only way I could actually fit the mechanism, because it takes a whole lot of space. There's barely space for a magazine. As we just saw, the magazine release does not work, of course. Here we have the magazine, just a couple of holes in the back and a tiny little bullet on top. Just something to have as a magazine. It just kind of fills into the grip, and actually just makes it a bit more stable when you're actually using the gun. We do have the kind of side building techniques right here, just to actually allow space for the mechanism, as you can see right in there. I'm going to give you a better look at that a bit later. We have a thumb rest on the grip, pretty standard Glock stuff. We have the disassembly pins right here, again very standard Glock stuff. We have the front rail here, which can actually attach a few attachments if you'd want to. I haven't really made any that slide, but I'm sure you could slide them on. The slide is just a standard design, nothing actually too special considering this is blowback. The whole mechanism is kind of housed in the grip rather than the slide. So the sights are pretty basic, standard Glock sights. This is very similar to the tutorial model of the Glock 19 I have already. We just have a few grip panels right here, so this slide does just work normally, even though there is a blowback mechanism. As you can see right there, we have a Technic beam, and this is actually what works the entire mechanism. I just decided to make it nice and simple, and that the trigger moves with the slide. Of course, it can move individually, so they're not connected, but the trigger does move a beam that just pushes the slide. So we'll get a bit better look at that a bit later. But yeah, the mechanism does work really nice. As you can see, it does kind of move with the trigger, but also the trigger's pullback is only 2 studs, and the slide pullback is almost 4 studs. It was so close to being a full 4 studs, because it would be nice to make it go all the way back, but I wasn't really able to get that done. So the slide lock does also work. You can look down into the grip a tiny bit. There's not so much to see because of the beam that's there. I did want it to be a half beam initially, but there's also a bit of grip structure right in there that kind of blocks the view. So I did want to use a half beam, as I said, just so I could actually get a larger magazine in, but I didn't really have that piece. Pretty simple blowback mechanism. I'll just rip open the top here. So this is what the internals look like when the gun is working. As you can see, the beam is just stuck onto here, or it pushes the piece right here. As you can see, the beam is attached down there. The trigger is actually attached to the beam. I'm not too sure if you can see that. It's just attached right in there like so, with a low friction Technic piece. So the trigger design isn't really the greatest because it needs to be out of Technic to reduce friction. But when you pull the trigger, it starts pulling the beam back, and then it angles it back all the way there. So if I had a bit more space to go in the front, I could probably make it go a tiny bit more back. As you can see, it uses 2 different rubber bands, one that just goes for the trigger so it can work on its own, and then 1 rubber band for the slide. Now the really difficult part here is to get the tensions completely correct. The trigger has to have some certain strength, but not too much, and the slide also actually needs to be able to slide without there being too much friction and it not being too strong, because if everything is too strong, then the whole thing is just gonna crumble when you try to press the trigger. So yeah, it is just a bit finicky to figure out, but the mechanism is really easy. So now that we have the gun put back together, we can start showing off some of the attachments I made for this. So first off, we have this RMR type sight. I'm not really too sure what to call it. It's mainly just a custom design, just taken from a bunch of different ones. So it does have a dial here that you can turn, and then you can get different crosshair designs. So it is really easily made, just a couple of plates. You can see the slow pieces used. But it does look really nice. So we can also make use of the rail on the bottom, put on a little laser. As you can see, we have a translucent red piece in the front and a button to activate it right here, easily accessible with the trigger finger. The barrel can also get a little attachment, just made a very simple compensator to attach right on there. So yeah, that is pretty much it. I'm not too sure if there's going to be a tutorial for this. We'll see how well the video does, and then I will maybe do a tutorial. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys. Goodbye.